Today is part 3 of my series on the lies women are told about fat loss after 40. So in part 1 a couple of weeks ago, I covered nutrition. Part 2 was all about training and movement. The replays are in the group if you want to go back and watch those. And today I want to talk about the stuff that gets made far more dramatic than it needs to be. Sleep, stress, and supplements. I also have, at the end of this video, something to share with you that I'm really excited about that is really going to help you tie in these 3 components all together in one hit and give you the tools that you need to actually make progress with fat loss after 40. Hang with me for the next 5 minutes and I'll share all the details at the end. But first I want to get on to stress, sleep, and supplements. If you're over 40 and you have been looking into your health and trying to improve your health and fat loss, trying to change your body, you've probably been told some version of this at some point. Your cortisol is too high. Your hormones are broken. You need a liver detox, you need collagen, greens powder, adrenal support. And if you don't sleep perfectly, you're basically doomed. Let me know if that rings a bell. This is not true. Do some of these things matter? Yes. Do they matter because they support the basics? Yes. They don't replace them. So the fact is cortisol and poor sleep can affect hunger and cravings and energy and consistency, but it doesn't magically create fat gain without energy intake being higher than energy output. And stress can make things harder biologically and behaviorally, but it doesn't override energy balance. And I'm going to talk about this now. So let's start with the big one that we hear a lot about after 40, which is cortisol. You'll hear people say, you're not losing fat because your cortisol is too high. And it sounds convincing because it can give you a reason that feels outside of your control, because often fat loss does feel like it's this runaway train that we can't do anything about after 40. But cortisol doesn't override the basics of fat loss. What stress can do is make the basics harder to execute. It can make you hungrier. It can make you crave more high energy foods. It can make you less likely to move your body, go for a walk, to train. It can make you pour a wine and pick at your kids' leftovers and skip your planned lunch, or feel like you really need a sugar hit at 3 p.m. So the answer is not a cortisol cocktail, whatever that is, but it's definitely not that. The answer is, why or where is stress making my strategy harder to follow? So I'll give you an example here. If a stressful day means that you skip lunch and then you raid the pantry at 8 p.m. because you're starving, the issue isn't that cortisol blocked fat loss, it's that your day needed a better food structure. So let's go back to the basics. Protein and fiber first at all 3 of your meals, and snacks if you're going to have them. Simple, repeatable meals. Enough food earlier in the day that you're not starving and looking for the pantry or the fridge or the vending machine at 3 or 4 p.m. Strength training that supports your body instead of relentless cardio that just adds more stress and makes you exhausted. Doesn't mean you need to take out cardio or HIIT, just means it needs to be strategic and in your day. Let's talk about myth number 2. Sleep has to be perfect or fat loss won't work. This is a stressful one in itself, right? Sleep and stress are pretty intermingled. But I don't want anyone hearing this advice or comment and thinking, great, there's one more thing that I'm failing at, because sleep can be messy after 40. Let's face it. Perimenopause, stress, kids, aging parents, pets, work, temperature changes, all of those things are reasons that sleep can be interrupted, but it doesn't mean sleep has to be perfect or you're doomed and fat loss won't work. What sleep does is influence how easy or hard the process feels. So when sleep is restricted, the quality is affected. Research shows that people often eat more and feel hungrier, even when energy expenditure doesn't change much. So a poor night's sleep can make the call of the biscuit tin louder, but it doesn't make your metabolism broken, which is good news because we can control what we put in our mouths, even if energy feels low. So after 5 hours of sleep, it's not that you're undisciplined, it's just that you might need a more realistic plan. So a higher protein breakfast, an easier dinner option, and a walk instead of a really brutal training session. So it's not that we need a perfect bedtime routine, but the basics absolutely do apply and can help. We need a recovery supporting routine, a regular wind down, a point at which we cut off caffeine, we cut off scrolling, and a plan for tired days that don't rely on willpower. I have a lot of clients who really struggle with energy and sleep, and we just plan around those days so that we're not trying to rely on willpower and discipline to get you through, that you've got a backup plan on days when you don't have the energy to even think about what to eat. So about myth number 3, supplements are the missing piece. The industry loves making you feel like the thing standing between you and getting the results that you want is the one powder, the capsule, or the protocol that you haven't bought yet. If you're anything like me, you get shown so many ads on Instagram and Facebook for all of these supplements. But supplements are exactly that. They're supplemental. They can support a good plan if you've got the good foundations in place. They can't compensate for no plan. So the evidence for long-term fat loss supplements is weak at best, and safety can vary depending on the ingredient, the dose, medications, and health history. So I'm not talking here about actual medications like GLP-1s or hormone support like HRT. And this is not medical advice. Talk to your doctor about that. But the supplements that you get sold from the wellness industry are a different kettle of fish. So I'll give you an example here. Magnesium might help some people with sleep quality. Absolutely. It's one of my go-to supplements for sleep quality, for wind down, if people are low in magnesium and they're struggling with that particular thing. But magnesium's not going to fix scrolling your phone till 11 p.m. every night, or under-eating protein and grazing all day, or doing no strength training and living on random meals. It's just not. So we need to have the foundations in place first. So back to what I talk about all the time: protein and fiber, hydration, strength training, daily movement. These supplements, we can consider these supplements on actual need at that point when we've got the foundations in place. And there are some supplements that are quite helpful for women after 40, magnesium being one, creatine being another, and protein powders being another. But there's a heck of a lot more that are absolutely useless, and they're just going to give you expensive pee. Myth number 4, after 40, everything has to be complicated. And I actually think this is the most prevalent myth of all, that there are so many influencers and coaches that want you to believe that what you're dealing with can only be solved through a really complicated plan. And this is what I really want you to hear. After 40, your body may need more support, probably does, but it doesn't need more chaos or complexity. You don't need to fast for longer or harder, or cut more carbs, or do more cardio, or take more supplements, or chase every hormone hack on the internet. You need an evidence-based strategy that's sustainable and support to see it through. So strategy just means knowing what moves the needle in base weight, protein and fiber, total energy intake, strength training, sleep, stress, steps. All of those things are important, and a strategy to put it together in a way that makes sense to you. And support means having a plan that works with your real life, not a fantasy version of your life where you have 4 hours to meal prep every day and you can sleep for 9 hours every night. And sustainability means we can stop asking, how fast can I lose this weight, and start asking, can I still be doing this in 6 months' time? So quick recap: cortisol isn't making you broken. Stress might be making consistency harder. Your sleep doesn't need to be perfect, but better recovery does make better choices easier. And supplements aren't the foundation, they're the extras on top. And finally, after 40, fat loss doesn't need to be extreme. It needs to be clear and supported and repeatable. So as I said at the start, I have something exciting to share that I'd love you to be at. Next Wednesday, the 27th of May, I'm running a free workshop for you all. It is called the 3 Keys to Sustainable Fat Loss for Women over 40. I'm going to be breaking down the exact foundations that I want you to focus on so you can stop jumping between fads and finally understand what your body actually needs at this age. It is a 90-minute workshop. It is in depth. I'm not holding anything back. We're going to cover all of these 3 foundations that I've talked about in these last few weeks, nutrition, training, sleep, stress, movement, everything, it's in there. I went to comment workshop if you want the link to join us next Wednesday, and I'll send you the details. And that's pretty much it. I hope to see you there. That's going to tie everything together. If you can make the time for 90 minutes, 7:30 p.m. Sydney time next Wednesday. If you're in a different time zone, we'll figure that out. But this is going to give you the tools that you need all in one place. So you're not trying to piece it together yourself from random bits of advice on the internet. Sit down for 90 minutes with me and we'll go through it all. You'll have a plan at the end that you can actually implement into your life to start seeing results. And that's what I want for all of you. Comment workshop and I'll send you the details straight away, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.